So here we are on my third plot, just about to dig up the alfalfa to hunt for worms. Let's see if the Australian flatworms really made a dent in the worm population. This is something I have been concerned about quite a long time. As a no digger, you don't get to see the condition of your actual soil beneath the surface, so even though it's not something we normally do, I need to find out how big an impact the Australian flatworms have had on my plot. Alright, so here's the first of the two squares that I'm going to dig. I've speeded it up because I think it's a little bit less time to spend just doing a fairly rudimentary test. I'm trying to find out if the Australian flatworms have had any impact, and also have a look at the soil that's beneath the surface to try and establish what's going on in this area. As you can see, the soil is about 6 inches deep, where it's full of organic matter, and below that is the natural colour of the soil, which is a paler colour. That's quite pleasing in itself. So far I've found 2 worms. What constitutes a healthy soil or healthy population, I don't know. The alfalfa itself has got a good root system there, so I'm quite pleased with that. And it'll be interesting to see how this alfalfa develops, because there's only one nitrogen nodule beneath ground, and that's what we want to grow this crop for. So let's just see how we go there. Anyway, that's not so bad. We've got some worms in the first hole, not as many as I'd wanted, but I don't know what that perfect population is. So we're off to the second hole to see how we're going to do on this side. Once again, it's same procedure as cutting a 9-inch square hole straight down. Again, lift out the square, see what it's like. Yeah, so the soil is more or less the same. There's the pale subsoil, as it were, and there's the 6 inches of much better soil full of organic matter. Now then, we're finding more worms this time. That's pleasing. Again, the same problem with the alfalfa. Plenty of top growth, plenty of root, but not a lot of nitrogen nodules. But at least I'm finding more worms this time. Very pleasing. In fact, I ended up with 7 worms in this sample. Now that is, I think, probably a healthy population, and I'm quite pleased with that. In fact, I'm delighted. Very interesting this, because after 2 weeks of being away with no turning whatsoever, it's still at a very healthy temperature. I will turn it tomorrow, but that's really good. So just to show you the start of turning this compost, because I want you to see how well this is developed. This is the Woodchip based compost that I started roughly 3 weeks ago. It hasn't been turned for 2 weeks, and now it's actually looking pretty good. The idea of turning it is to get some air and oxygen back in there. The microbes will only thank you. All helps the speed up of the decomposition. Also helps to get the centre of the pile, which has received the most heat, out to the edges, and some of the edges back into the centre of the pile, so that you basically extend the power of the seed killing heat. And I'll stop the video roughly here, because you don't see me turning again. Now it's time to make a new batch of compost, leaf based with grass cuttings, of course, 50-50. The leaves are from the car park, so they've been crushed down by the weight of the cars. There is a few vegetable scraps in here, but really not much at all. And this was a batch that was at the bottom of the car park, which has been there roughly 12 months. And that's compost started roughly a week before. not really started, but just held in a pile ready for this process, and it's all going to go into this Dalek here. So I've speeded up the clip again because you don't want to see me going on and on about the same old thing. Hopefully you'll get an idea again of how I mix the ingredients and how it's vital to add water into the blend, because it really does help with the process to speed up. Now, these bits of twigs that I'm adding in are just browns from the garden from, I don't know what plant it was, but they're really brown, hollow inside, really help with oxygen flow through the heap. Great if you can get them. It really does help quite a bit. Gives texture to the pile, because there's leaves and grass have the ability to go into a bit of a stodgy mess very easily. So adding plenty of water is the key to it, of course. This can't be understated enough, really. The grass holds a lot of moisture, so after a certain while the need to add water is gone, but basically the leaves will soak up a huge amount of moisture, and the microbes need access to water to do their thing. These again, add layers of the woody material if you've got it, really helps. And we just carry on building up the pile up to the top, mixing as we go, adding water, and that's basically it. Very simple. That's bits too big. And as you see here, it's all done in the shade of an apple tree, so you don't have to do it in full sun. The position of the compost heap really doesn't matter too much. My other piles are in full sun. That can be a problem in the heat of the day in the summer, but obviously we're into autumn and winter now. The sun is nowhere near strong, so being in the shade really doesn't matter whatsoever. In fact, it's very good use of space, because this would all be dead area. As you can see, there's a few bits and pieces hanging around that I kind of put in this particular area because nothing much will grow. The blackcurrant does. Blackcurrant grows really well in the shade. And there it is. There's the pile finished, all mixed up, ready to go. And I also did a second one of using all the rest of the bits and pieces, about a third of the pile ready to add to the top of the other one later. And just 24 hours later, you can see the steam is coming off it very nicely, and the temperature is up to 66, and that's just in 24 hours. Thank you very much for watching again, and I hope to see you in the next